What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Jar Jar Jargon. Today, I wanted to share a very important update on the Heir to the Empire fan film project on my channel, as well as just fan films in general on this channel going forward. But first, I want to discuss a topic that's pretty relevant to the project in itself, and that is AI. By now, it's no secret that AI was used in the project in terms of animating about 90% of the frames that you see in the 18-minute fan film. The project is titled Heir to the Empire: The Beginning, for those of you who haven't seen it. And if you've been on this channel a little longer, you would know that we did an Heir to the Empire trailer that's about a minute long about 2 years ago. That trailer, the minute-long trailer, is completely hand-drawn frame by frame, and it took about 7 months to complete. The Heir to the Empire: The Beginning fan film, which is about 18 minutes long, took me about 6 months to complete. We had dozens of volunteers in terms of doing voice acting and things like that, but every single frame was built by me in Photoshop and then animated via AI for the most part. And to be completely honest, that video you see, the 18-minute video, would have never been possible without AI, especially because I am not an animator, and to try and get volunteers to animate things of that nature, of that length, would be frankly impossible, and the cost alone would be somewhere in the range of $100,000 if I wanted to hire people to do it. I am not a studio. I don't have that kind of money. I don't make any kind of money off of that video. Disney, of course, may be running ads on it because they've copyrighted it immediately, but I don't make a cent off of it. And for me, it's just something that I wanted to kind of put out there to show what it would be like if Lucasfilm decided to animate some of the EU novels in the 1990s, which I always thought would be a really cool thing to do, especially when we had great animated series like the X-Men animated series, which has been revived now, and the Spider-Man animated series. And that's really all this project was to kind of showcase what that would look like. Of course, some people were definitely offended that there was a use of AI, and I do understand where they're coming from. And here's the reason I'm having this discussion now is because I myself am a creative. I in the past 2 years have been writing my own novel, which is over 400 pages long. And with the influx of ChatGPT writers that we're seeing this day, there's even a subreddit called Writing with AI or something along those lines. You might ask how that makes me feel, someone who actually took the time day after day to put in to craft a story from start to finish. But to be honest, I really don't care. And the reason is because I know that a ChatGPT generated writing prompt, whether that's like a fan fiction or an original story, will never have the level of detail that it takes to go line by line and craft each piece of dialogue and each piece of action like I did for my own story. I feel the same way about something like music. I have written lots of music, produced my own music from scratch for many, many years. It's something I've kind of fallen out of, in recent times, but it's something that I did have a passion for once upon a time. And now there's this Suno that can allow people to generate songs. They can even input rhythms or melodies and things like that, and it will incorporate them into the songs. Honestly, it's a pretty crazy tool, but for someone who doesn't have the capability to make music, doesn't know anything about music, yes, they could take the time to learn, but if they just have a sound that they want to hear, maybe they can generate it, and maybe they'll get something they like. But at the end of the day, for me, I know that if I have that ability, it'll never be quite as good as I want it to be or hear it in my head when I'm making something. And now you might say, that I'm a hypocrite because I used AI to animate frames in this fan film. But to be honest with you, I'm not an animator. But I'm also not saying that my fan film is better than anyone who has done a hand-drawn one. I like the 1-minute trailer on my page better than the 18-minute fan film because it's exactly what I wanted. And it looks a lot cleaner, to be honest. I'm going to shout out OTA King, who's here on YouTube. If you haven't seen his Star Wars TIE Fighter fan film or his Alien fan film, you are severely missing out. It is one of the best pieces of fan content I think ever created. Totally hand-drawn. From what I understand, it took him 6 years just to make this, but that's understandable because he went in there and he drew every frame. Nothing will ever look as good as this. No AI will ever look as good as this. AI will get better, of course. It will look cleaner, but there's something about that human touch, crafting every individual frame, that just can't be done. You don't have that level of control with AI. But can AI be used to speed up the process of something like animation? And that's where I'm totally on board. And I think 100% this is going to be used as a tool in media in the future. And there's nothing any of us can do to stop it. There's several animation studios in Korea and China that are already putting a lot of money and resources into making sure that this tool develops in the correct way. We're already seeing it used in early stages as like an in-betweening frames or coloring frames tool, which is just absolutely crazy. Imagine, you have an actual artist who sketches out an entire anime, most of the frames essentially, but they get all the in-betweens done by AI, and then they give a few color references, and they have all the coloring done by AI. That would speed up the process immensely, and I think that that's just going to happen. There's no way around it. People are going to lose jobs because of AI. It's just the nature of the beast, but not only in the media industry is that going to happen. It's going to happen in all industries. Think about programmers or coders. Think about even something like finance. I mean, how simple is it going to be for AI to run books versus a human sifting through numbers all day? It's just going to happen. I don't love it. I don't love that AI replaces things, but that's kind of what we saw with the computer age as well, and the internet in general, right? The internet replaced things, replaced people. And hopefully it's one of those things where new jobs are created for different reasons. I mean, there may be AI experts and things like that. But in terms of the art industry and how AI relates to it, I think it's honestly here to stay, unfortunately. But I also think there's always going to be value in that craft for those who can craft things by hand. I just think it's personally always going to look better. Just like I think 2D animation always looks better than CGI, and maybe that's just with the time that I was raised in, but Toy Story was very new when I was a kid, and that was the first full-length, CGI film. And I'm sure a lot of animators at Disney who worked on things like Lion King and The Little Mermaid and Tarzan thought they were out of a job, and it turns out they were out of a job. Because what did we get after that? Like Atlantis and Lost Planet or whatever it is. That was pretty much the end of 2D animation as everyone saw it, because they adopted a quicker workflow where they could rig these models. It was a lot cheaper to do, and they didn't have to hire all these animators to sit there and draw frames all day long and work for production for 2 years. And that's why they moved away from it. Thank God some studios like Ghibli have continued the tradition of 2D animation, but Disney has completely abandoned it. And Disney, although suing Midjourney for uses of their IP in their generative AI learning model, will be at the forefront of AI as well, rest assured. And we've already seen use of it in the Book of Boba Fett. They used AI to deepfake Luke Skywalker. It's machine learning. Now, of course, they're using their own IP to do it, but instead of just hiring a new actor to play Luke Skywalker, recast, they're using AI to essentially replicate a young Mark Hamill. And we're going to see it with Leia, 100%. We're going to see it with Han as well. And that's probably going to happen in this Dave Filoni movie. And I don't think George Lucas would be opposed to this, to be honest with you. He was always at the forefront of technology. I mean, when he did, all the CGI in The Phantom Menace, the full CG character for the first time in live action, people didn't like it. And he continued to push forward. He was the one who talked about the volume sets happening before they ever could become a reality. So I do not think someone like George Lucas would be opposed to it. And we already know James Cameron isn't opposed to it. He sees all humans as a learning model, and we all take inspiration from different arts and implement them into our own art. I mean, I do it in my writing, and I've done it in my music as well, and I'm sure anybody who draws does it as well. You have inspirations, and you take those inspirations, and that's how you create art. Is a machine doing it really that much different? Honestly, probably not. So at the end of the day, you can come for someone like me who is just trying to put out something on YouTube for fun to watch, which makes me no money whatsoever. It's just something I did in my spare time for the fans to showcase what a 90s anime could look like in Star Wars. Or you could go after the studios who are actually going to be funding these tools and using these tools in a major way going forward. I guarantee you 20 years from now, AI is probably going to be commonplace in every major production, which is kind of scary to think, but we won't even notice it's there. The studios will be the ones who control it. They will be the ones who have access to it and the ability to use it as much as they want. I think it might fade away to a certain degree from the public, especially. And I'm not talking about something like ChatGPT, which is essentially a high-functioning search engine that people continue to use and, of course, will continue to use. It's already like the most popular website, I think, in the US or maybe in the world at this point in time. But I am talking about the more high-level models and tools that can be used for something to create special effects and or, animation in between, things like that. I think you're going to pay a high dollar for a program like that in the future. And even when you are accessing them, you're probably not going to have access to IP characters like you do now because of all the lawsuits happening and copyright, which also leads to kind of another point, is AI stealing? Based on learning models and things like that, I mean, it definitely could be seen as a form of piracy, but don't tell me you've never downloaded a song for free on the internet before, because I'm pretty sure everyone on Earth has at this point. So it's, there's this moral dilemma of like what's right and what's wrong, but at the end of the day, the rich companies are going to control their IPs, especially how it relates to AI, and they will use AI tools. And that's pretty much the statement that I wanted to make about AI. I am not a huge supporter of it, to be honest. Yes, I've used it here and there for fan projects, things that I'm not going to monetarily profit off of. But when it comes to something like my own novel, which I've had art created for, I've always commissioned an artist to do that. And to be honest, I probably have paid more money to artists than 99% of the people that say AI slop in the comments of my fan film video. But that doesn't really matter. I guess you do it one time and you're the enemy. And to bring things full circle and get back on track, I am going to discuss kind of the future of the fan film right now. And I'm here to say that the AI haters have won. I am not going to continue the project as it is now. It's not because I'm super anti-AI and where it's going. It's mostly just because I don't think the tool is really ready for what, I'd like to have on screen. So for that reason, I will be going back to just using anyone who can, lend their talents in terms of 2D art. We may be able to pay some people as well now that we have a Patreon set up. There's some money coming in there, and I am going to use that money to try and get some quality 2D animation to you guys in the form of trailers. And my plan here is to do trailers for other Legends books, whether that's Plagueis or Shadows of the Empire or NJO. And I think I'm going to leave it up to you guys, the community, to decide what we see next. So yes, the Heir to the Empire anime project is effectively put on hold. So those of you who want to unsubscribe because of that or unsubscribe from Patreon because of that, totally fine. That's your own choice. And if you don't want to support the channel any longer, I totally understand. But just know that I do want to deliver 2D animated Legends content to you guys still. And I'm going to do that in the form of shorter trailers that can actually be truly hand-drawn and hopefully look a little cleaner with a little more action. Obviously, you guys saw the lightsaber fight with the Nogri in the Heir to the Empire, the beginning episode, and it's a little rough, right? It just is. I mean, because the technology just isn't there yet. I did a lot of compositing in that. I used a lot of truly animated backgrounds in that sequence as well, and it still looked rough just because the characters couldn't quite move the way I wanted to using the AI. But I'm hoping to deliver some pretty cool stuff to you guys. So what I'm going to be doing is putting up a poll on my page here in the next few days, asking which book you'd like to see animated in the form of a trailer. Of course, we'll be using real voice actors again. Many of the people that I've already worked with will be asked to reprise their roles or possibly take on new roles depending on what book we are going to be animating next. But that is essentially the future of this channel right now. We're going to be doing 2D anime trailers, truly hand-drawn, and which is pretty exciting. And I really would like your guys' support on Patreon. If you want to go over there, sign up. Anything will help because, while I do have some volunteers that are willing to put in some time and draw some things here and there. I also will probably need money to get some of this made, and all the money that I've already made there will go towards this project and continuing this project. So I just want to say thank you guys for supporting the channel. I do want to continue to deliver great content to you guys, and honestly, I'd love your opinions on AI down below. I just want to have an open discussion about it. I don't think it's one of those things that's worth getting super angry over, to be honest with you. So, you know, if you're an AI hater, explain why. I'd love to hear it, because once again, you know, I kind of feel indifferent about it. I don't think it's going to replace me and what I can do creatively, but I do think it's going to replace some people and some jobs, and it's going to streamline processes for studios more so than help out the little people who are on YouTube not making any money. But, you know, you can get angry about it either way. It is going to get developed by the people who have money at the end of the day. Even if every non-corporate entity in the world stopped using AI all of a sudden, it would not stop the advancement of AI tools at the corporate level. It just wouldn't happen. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching, as always, and may the Force be with you.